Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and of course, Andy's here. Andy.
I don't think I could have left, Michael. I seriously think you change the locks every time you walk out that door.
That's right. You're not getting out. So just get comfy in that chair.
I just keep thinking, I'm so close, so close. It's like an episode. It's like a game of Skyrim every time, just breaking lockpick after breaking lockpick.
That's right. Keep trying, buddy.
But there's no one
You
here.
gotta get that skill up.
There's no one here to practice my skills.
Oh, well, that's why you just got to keep studying for the cases, Andy.
Okay.
Yeah, like last week, where we covered the death of Mariah Wilson. She was a pro gravel cyclist. I didn't even know that gravel cycling was like a category.
I mean, I guess it's just like an offset of mountain biking to an extent. Just off-road
pretty
cycling.
much.
Yeah,
pretty much. But in that world, it is quite competitive and can be quite deadly, especially if you get entangled with, like, you know, some of the heavy hitters.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? The A-listers of the sport, if you will, which Mariah Wilson was.
Yeah, she basically was.
In female cycling. And she had a little relationship, a little fling, if you will, with a man named Colin Strickland, who was also a pro cyclist. But the only issue was Colin Strickland was in a long-term relationship with a woman named Caitlin Armstrong. And you know what they say about Armstrongs in cycling, Andy?
They don't give up easily?
I don't know. I was just hoping you'd come up with something. But I was just trying to make a connection to Lance Armstrong and Caitlin
They will
Armstrong.
win at all costs.
There we go. They never give up.
They will win no matter what the cost or what the rules say.
Exactly. Either way, guys, definitely check out that episode, The Death of Mariah Wilson. Very interesting case and inspiring case, really. If you look up videos of Mariah on YouTube, amazing person, like a true tragedy.
Yeah, and actually an amazing manhunt by the U.S. Marshals too to track down.
Absolutely, Caitlin.
What's her name?
Caitlin Armstrong. Yeah.
To actually track her down all the way. What was it, Costa Rica or something like that? It was like a full on manhunt. It was like their whole job was like for almost like several months, like down in Costa Rica tracking this lady.
No doubt.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. It was a pretty interesting story.
Absolutely. As was the death of Cindy James, which we covered on Strange and Unexplained. Guys, you can catch new episodes of Strange and Unexplained wherever you listen to podcasts on Mondays. And you can catch them even earlier than that on patreon.com/truecrimeguys, where you can get access to early episodes here on TCG as well. Like this episode you're listening to today, you probably could have heard it yesterday with no ads.
Mm-hmm. And you could have heard probably what was a little bit of bonus content.
Yeah, probably like 15 minutes of bonus content or something where we're talking about very important things. Yeah. Like personalities of sea creatures.
Yes.
Okay.
the stuff you don't want to miss out on.
We really ran the gambit of it.
Yeah, the shit you're really going to bring to the water cooler next next day work.
Exactly.
Yeah, fuck this timeline. Did you hear what they did about dolphins?
But no, I'm not on Patreon. I didn't hear it. Gosh dang. But yeah, that's a Patreon exclusive, guys. You guys can hear that. Speaking of Patreon exclusives, next week we will be doing our original TCG episode on Patreon, and we'll have headlines and shenanigans here on the free platform. And guys, don't forget, new episodes of Strange and Unexplained are also in video form on YouTube. So check out True Crime Guys on YouTube and subscribe, and check out the daily shorts as well.
Yeah, leave us some comments. Tell us how pretty we're looking.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate that very much. But this week, I wanted to light case, Andy. I wanted to give us a break from all the depressing murders and killings and awful things that we often have to talk about. And I wanted to get another folk hero in here, Bike Batman.
And I feel like you were kind of in the same zone. You were just like, man, these guys were pretty inspiring. These cyclists, they had like a really exciting life. Kind of looking at them,
right?
They have their own Batman? Oh, right. Fuck.
Exactly. Here we
go. This is a way more interesting environment.
Exactly. It's a more positive thing that happened in the cycling industry.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I wouldn't say that Bike Batman is in the cycling industry per se, more so a cycling enthusiast.
Enthusiast is a word. Yeah.
Extreme enthusiast even. Like he enjoys working on bikes, selling bikes, riding bikes, all things bikes.
Protecting bikes.
Avenging bikes.
He really lives, breathes bikes.
Yes, and bike owners.
Yes.
He has a passion for them. But Bike Batman was just an average guy in Seattle who liked to ride bicycles. There was nothing about him that made you think that he'd be a vigilante or who would face off against criminals armed with a smartphone and the cops on speed dial. But you know, sometimes the purpose just finds you, Andy. He would ride his bike to work. He would ride his bike home. In the evenings, in his basement, he would fix up broken bikes and resell them.
It almost sounded like you're about to do a Dr. Seuss rhyme there. It's like he would ride his bike to work. He would ride his bike to home. He would ride his bike to fetch and get his dog a bone. I was really expecting like a little Dr. Seuss in there, Michael.
Would you?
Yeah.
Well, I don't write rhymes, dude.
Spit them.
Yeah, exactly. But basically what we're trying to say, Andy, before Andy rudely interrupted me, was that the guy showed no crime-fighting predilection, okay? I never thought, and you might not either, that he would ever be a bike hero. But sometimes it's a calling, Andy. Some people were born to wear the cape, and I think Bike Batman was. He just has a heart for it.
The truest heroes never seek out to be heroes.
That's right.
That calling is thrust upon them, and they had to answer it.
I agree, 100%. Let's roll the intro on that note.
Bike Batman.
Bike Batman. All right, Andy. So, as I'm sure you're well aware, all heroes have an origin story.
Oh, that's what,
right.
Everyone does. It's the most interesting part of the character.
Exactly. And that would be the whole point of doing an episode on Bike Batman.
Yes, we
would
need to
be
hear.
To share the origin story.
Give
right?
me that dark origin story. Why are you like this, Batman? Batman.
Well, it was May of 2015. It was a Monday.
Already terrible story.
It's already awful. May, it's probably starting to get hot. It's a Monday. No. Now, our guy, an engineer, was at work. Now, you don't have to worry about where he's at work, and you don't have to worry about his name because he's Bike Batman, for Christ's sake, Andy. And that's the whole point of his identity.
Anybody can be Bike Batman. That's the point.
Well, yes, but we're talking about a specific person, but
anybody,
but anybody could be.
Anybody can wear the cape.
Yes, that fits the description that we're going to give of him.
Yeah. It's just who answers the call.
Anyway, okay, he was online looking for a bike for his wife. And Andy, I didn't tell you before the show. I definitely should have, but I'd like you to read the stuff in blue here.
As Batman?
As Batman.
As Bike Batman?
Yes, as you are going to play Bike Batman for us during this episode.
Oh, fuck yes. So I was looking for a surly cross-check, and I've been searching for one on Craigslist forever. And one finally popped up, and it was really, really cheap. And I thought immediately, this is either stolen, or it's super beat up, and all these parts are junk. Or maybe the person just doesn't know what they have. It was like $300 bucks. It would sell for like $700, or like half that price. So anyways, I started asking the guy questions about it, about fit, about parts, about whatever. And the guy couldn't answer anything. So I think, okay, this is probably stolen. And I do a quick Google, Surly, cross-check, Seattle stolen. And a bike index ad popped up. And that bike index ad had a picture of this bike and a contact number for the owner of this very bike.
Thank you, Batman. That was spot on. Oh my God, your throat's going to be ripped by the end of this episode. Oh my God.
What are you talking about? This is just my voice. This is my real voice, everybody.
That's what you're going to do from now on. Oh my God. Okay. So when I first heard that quote, I was like, hold on, bike index? What are you talking about? So Bike Index is the U.S.'s largest bike registry and apparently a great source for info on stolen bikes. And it lists more than 75,000 bikes. Probably even more now. So our guy, he's not Batman at this point, remember. He reaches out to the original owner of the cross-check. He says, I shoot her a text and I say, I may have found your bike for sale. Could you provide me with some more details? So she responded with pictures of her police report, pictures of her receipts, all this stuff, and the serial number.
This is like the fucking FBI's like stolen car registry or something like that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, yeah, let's just run that tag through the stolen car database, and maybe we'll get a hit. So,
Yeah,
they had them for
exactly.
fucking bikes. Jesus Christ. Like,
Yeah.
maybe for like Harleys and shit, but they have
listen,
for fucking Schwinn's and stuff.
I'm going to educate you on some bikes on this episode, Andy.
Like I said, what do we got? We got a 2015 Huffy with off-road tires. It's got...
Yeah, the bikes are taken pretty serious, okay? So that afternoon, he decides to pose as a buyer of this bike so he can meet the guy who's selling it, right? And he has no idea what to say. He has no escape route planned, no nothing. So the seller suggests meeting in downtown Seattle, right by the city jail, as it turns out.
When the seller shows up, it's not just one guy. It's 3.
Oh, no.
They look like drug addicts. And whatever. I talk to them like this all the time. I take after my mom. Talk to everybody. My wife, she hates it. And I start talking to them. I look at the bike. And immediately I'm like, this bike is set up exactly like the ladies I've been texting. I flip the bike over, check the serial number. The serial number's the same.
I knew it.
Okay, at this point, the bike is stolen. I don't know what to do. I just said, give me a second, guys. And I quickly dialed 911 on my phone. Conveniently, my phone didn't have a dial, so I pretended to talk to the police as I derived a plan. And I said, well, guys, I'm sorry to tell you this, but this is my girlfriend's bike and it's been stolen. And I just talked to the police, and the way I see it, you've got 2 options. You can wait here for the police and tell them your story and how you came upon this bike. Or you can get out of here and just let me throw the bike in my truck. One guy immediately ran away. As soon as he heard police, he was out of there. It's important just to let this energy sink, basically. The only reason this has worked out for me so far is I just go in there, keep an even keel the whole time. And this is just so you start getting worked up. The person is going to start getting worked up with you, and you feed off that vibe and that energy, and you put out what you get.
This guy, he really does have a mentality like a real superhero.
Well, he basically just says that he stays really chill. He's like, he just stays as chill as possible. And so, and his theory is that, if you don't give off that energy, like you're ready for a conflict, then people will be less likely to start a conflict.
Yeah. I wonder how many of these things have actually just worked out on bikes that he just thinks are stolen. Like, this might just work. If you just are an intimidating enough person, you just walk up and you, like you said, you do that voice maybe.
There were instances where he thought a bike was stolen, but he really didn't find a thing on a registry, and he went and met with the person, and it usually didn't work out well. It was basically just a he said, she said, right? They just didn't admit to it. I don't know what he was expecting. I guess that they would just cop to it, but no, they're typically not going to do that. But people were typically pretty chill with him. But it also doesn't hurt that he's in his 30s. He's a big-shouldered guy, big beard, Viking-looking guy, from what I read.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see the resemblance. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, back to the story. Go ahead, Batman.
The other 2 guys were getting a little amped up. My heart's in my throat. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just standing there, and I'm like, well, guys, I'm not waiting around any longer. I'm out of here. So I throw it in my truck and try to race downtown until 5:30 p.m. on a Tuesday. I make it about 50 feet and stop at a traffic light, because it's red.
Well, that's what a law-abiding citizen does, Batman.
I'm just saying, this guy doesn't have the Batmobile, okay? He can't just burn through these traffic lights.
Exactly. It's not exactly a clean getaway, right? But he does get the bike back where it belonged, and that's what matters. Now, the seller had dozens of bikes for sale on Craigslist, the guy that he got the bike back from. So our guy gave all the woman's info to the Seattle Police Department, and then he waited and waited.
Seattle PD was going really, really slow. And I was getting really frustrated watching these bikes go up for sale and then coming back down.
Yeah, he got a little obsessed. He found more bike postings of stolen bikes and then tried to find them for sale online just over and over again. And about a week later, he saw a red, surly karate monkey for sale on OfferUp. Remember old OfferUp?
I do remember Offer Up. I've never heard of a surly karate monkey for some reason.
No, never heard of a surly karate monkey.
That just sounds like a cartoon brand of a bike that some like Ed and Eddie was trying to save up for one summer.
On the contrary, I think it's probably like a very high-end brand that we would know nothing about, Andy.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I would be appalled to spend that amount of money on a bicycle.
Yeah, when you can buy a bicycle for the same price you can buy a used car for.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you're like, wait a minute.
I'm buying a four-wheeler.
Like, I understand the fuel costs I'll save, but.
Yeah, exactly. So anyways, he found this surly karate monkey for sale on OfferUp. He found the owner, a boy from Idaho whose ride disappeared in the 20 minutes that he ran upstairs to see his girlfriend at the University of Washington. So he calls up this kid, and him and the kid set up a buy. So they met with the thieves that night.
We were idiots. Once they confirmed it was the kid's bike, I was like, hey, why don't you call the girlfriends and tell them what we're doing, all right? And I'm wearing a wedding ring. I'm trying to pull it off and put it in my pocket. Okay, the girlfriends, he says. And he runs off to call 911.
Yeah, so that was their code word for once they matched the serial number. He was like, oh, yeah, just go ahead and call the girlfriends and let them know we're okay, and then that was his signal to call 911. But apparently the kid was pretty enthusiastic on the 911 call because 7 cops showed up for this shit.
Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yeah, you called the major crimes unit, man.
Yes.
You called Commissioner Gordon.
Yes. And the perpetrators were immediately arrested. The bikes were recovered, and the police told them that their vigilante scheme would probably get them shot.
It's just like,
I'm just gonna be honest with you, boys. You're gonna get shot.
yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you, this may have worked out this time, but
these guys like meth a lot more than you like bikes.
yeah,
okay?
you see why this guy was selling that bike?
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't for his his daughter's college fund. Okay, yeah, it was for meth.
I like how we're like imitating a bunch of transferred officers from New York. Apparently, it's supposed to be Seattle.
You gotta work wherever you gotta work, right?
That's right. But honestly, getting shot was not Bike Batman's concern. Okay, he didn't give a shit at this point because the rush was good, and maybe he had a Robin.
He did. He found his Robin.
No, he did not find his Robin. That kid did not stick around. He was like, nah, man, I got my bike back. I'm good, actually.
The kid was like, whoa, we could get shot?
I'll just lock my bike up next time.
I didn't know we could get shot. Fuck this. Whoa.
Exactly.
You're just a guy? Fuck you. What was with the voice?
This kid didn't have the heart for it, man. The cape wasn't calling him. It's okay. It's not calling everybody.
As soon as Bike Batman pulled out those tights he was supposed to wear, he was like, whoa, buddy, I'm not putting those on. All right.
Yeah. No.
That shows way too much thigh for me.
Exactly. But he could have used the help, though, because the bike business was booming. Apparently, across the U.S., property crime had been falling for years, but bike thefts really haven't. And still, even today, this case took, he was active, at least Bike Batman, I'm sure he still is, but he was active like 2015, 2016, around that area. But even today, on average, 175,200 bikes are reported stolen in the United States every single year.
Jesus
So basically,
Christ.
a bike is stolen every 3 minutes. And of course, this is just reported thefts. I mean, how many people have had a bike stolen, never reported it? I mean, tons, man.
And then how many of those stolen bikes then get restolen by somebody else?
Right.
It's never going to get, it just gets paid it down, just gets
Exactly.
gets stolen and stolen or sold and stolen.
Yeah, and I got this information off the FBI's website, and they had this on there, research by 529 Garage. I'm like, what the fuck is 529 Garage? But anyways,
Okay.
They suggest that the actual number of bikes stolen could be closer to 2 million.
God.
Which would basically mean that a bike is stolen every 30 seconds, Andy.
I
the
want
US.
to get in on this. Apparently, this is a lucrative market, apparently.
Yeah.
think I
Well,
saw-
I mean, okay, for instance, the bikes really have gone up. Okay, for one, the price of cars is through the roof. Okay,
Price of fuel is always going to go up.
price of fuel is always going up, repair, maintenance, all that shit. If you get an electric car, forget about it, right? Like just the cost. And so all of this combined, I mean, it's making them worth the lift. I mean, even a basic ass Huffy, like if you got a Huffy beach cruiser, even in the lowest income parts of our nation, it's still worth $100.
Yeah.
And a
Either way.
meth head would absolutely jack your bike for $100.
Yeah, absolutely. And either way, it's just in either way, it's just an easy way to get around. Like if you're not going in very
Yeah.
far from your house and you just kind of live in this little community, yeah, it's like why would you not just take a bike and be like, yeah, this is my ride now.
That's right.
So yeah, it's like, why do I need a car if I'm working from home and I live, in this area? I don't need a car anymore.
So there's a lot of bikes out there.
Yeah,
is
for
what
real.
we're getting at.
I can understand why this is a big market now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people stealing them because meth mainly is it's probably the biggest reason.
Yeah, that's also a lucrative market apparently.
I mean, even Bike Batman would protest to that.
Apparently that's
yeah, pretty much. But even Bike Batman would protest that most of the sellers that he encountered looked a little rough.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Looked like they've been around a little bit.
Looked like they were trying to sell this bike to go meet with Walter White. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. But also, what's really upped bike thefts is online commerce sites, right? Like Craigslist, eBay, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Let Go, all that shit. It just makes it very easy for people to sell shit anonymously, and they don't even have to put details.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it makes it very hard to track down. They can put like they steal like a specialized mountain bike. They can just be like specialized bike, gray. Mm-hmm. And you know how hard that's going to be to find? Like, you didn't even put the size of the wheels or nothing, like what the frame's made of.
Yeah, you just got to hope somebody comes and sees that bike and then takes pictures of it or something.
Exactly. But that's what makes what Bike Batman did not really so amazing, but so good. Like, it's a way to get... It's a way to go up on the pure meter in Fable. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's just like, why are you doing this, dude? You just must like to return people's shit to him.
Just increasing your karma.
Just really, yeah, exactly. He just really liked bikes, maybe. But in his first year as a superhero, Bike Batman returned 24 bicycles to their owners. That's 2 a month.
Yeah, listen.
Hey, that man's putting in work.
We're only looking at the numbers he returned, not the ones he didn't, okay?
That's right. That's right. And at first, he did this alone. But then he got a little smarter. He started meeting some cops, probably maybe common responders, right? They're like, oh, it's Bike Batman again. Yeah, I'll go to that. I'll get that call.
He's got to have his Commissioner Gordon. He's got to have his guy to put the signal up.
He's got to. And then he also met quite a big network of people through the victims that he met to get these bikes back. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those victims had friends who were cops. So now those cops are more interested.
And we learned from last week that the cycling community is a pretty tight-knit community. So if someone in that group says, oh, my bike was stolen and this guy got my bike back for me, somebody else in that group is like, oh, shit, my bike was stolen 2 weeks ago and the cops haven't been able to find it.
Exactly.
Give me his phone number. I'm going to see if this guy can find it.
Yeah,
you become like Dog the Bounty Hunter for bikes.
And he loved to do it, man. Here's a quote from him.
It felt so good. Just so good to get people reconnected with this thing that they've got all this emotional attachment to. And most of these guys, they don't even have renter's insurance. Or they don't have a policy on their bike or for whatever reason. Now they're out $2,000, $3,000 when this thing all of a sudden just gets stolen.
So true, Batman. That's so true. Take Maggie Stapleton, for instance. On an unseasonably warm day, Maggie, who was 29 at the time, was grilling outside with some friends, and then it cooled down suddenly. So everyone just kind of went and moved the party inside, and in all the hubbub, she forgot to lock her bike up. And her Salsa Vaya was a steel traffic cone orange. It was the bike that she bought after she first met her boyfriend, who was a longtime cyclist. On that Salsa, Stapleton became a cyclist and a bike commuter, riding to and from her job in downtown Seattle. She had put thousands of miles on it. But when Stapleton came outside at midnight to ride home, the Salsa Vaya was, it was gone.
Yeah, we realized that last episode too. How much miles many people put on those bikes? Some of those the races that she was in were like 103-mile races, what was it, mountain bike races for like 103 miles. I'm like, good Lord, that's a fucking NASCAR race.
That's Big Sugar race.
Yeah, that's Big Sugar. Yeah, that Big Sugar, Little Sugar.
Right.
But yeah, those are some long rides these people go on.
Yeah, it is. Now, she went home and posted about her bike wherever she could think of. She tweeted, she contacted bike shops, nothing. She was sick about her lost bike. But really, what could she do, she thought. But then one night, she received a phone message. Beep.
I think I may have found your bike.
Obviously, she called him back, and it was Batman. if you didn't know by the voice, it was Batman.
Calls back and
how'd you get this number?
You left it on my answering machine.
You texted me from it?
But Batman, when she called him back, he was already headed to North Seattle to meet the seller.
I'm already on my way.
He had been checking the listings before bed, and he saw what he thought was a fishy post. So he cross-referenced it and found Stapleton's post on Bike Index, complete with telltale details such as a scratch here and there and some mismatched tires. Stapleton met him in a Sam's Club parking lot. Batman had already called the cops, and a plan was hatched. The police would hide nearby as Batman met the thief in the parking lot of a Kid Valley burger joint. He wrote the bike's serial number on his hand. If it matched, he'd give the signal.
So the signal was a fucking open hand slap with that number. I'm going to imprint that serial number on his face. You know it's him.
So Stapleton watched as the thief produced her beloved bike, and Batman sounded the alarm. She went home that night with her salsa vaya.
Like I said, I wonder what his alarm must have been at that point. What this guy's just bat signal must have been. Just shoots up a flare. Whoa, you're in a parking lot, dude.
Turns around, blows up a car.
Yes.
Only later did Stapleton realize that she'd had a brush with Batman, whom she'd only read about in the paper just a few days before. Batman was starting to fall into some sort of a routine, I guess, Andy. He was getting real comfortable being Batman in the shadows.
Yeah, you gotta start living that dual life.
Exactly.
Where does Batman end and the man begin?
Exactly. So at downtime at work, like during a conference call or something like that.
Yeah,
when you don't really have to be that present.
Yeah, that free time you have at work.
Exactly. He would start searching.
So the first thing I do is I pop up Craigslist and offer up on both screens of my computer, and I just scroll passively until I see something, and it raises a red flag for me. And then I cross-check Bike Index, or I'll open up Bike Index, and I'll scroll through the recent stolen bikes. So 5 minutes or 30 seconds here and there. Anyone can do it. Anyone can wear the cape.
Like when he found a Trek, a lime green one.
I would say you could end up buying this for around $1,000 from REI. The components look fairly new, and they're only asking $250 for it.
What? Get out.
If this was a normal sale, I would expect to see Trek, model, size, and just some details. But look at this listing. All it says is green Trek bike. No size, no nothing. The photo is taken front of a flipped over shopping cart and a makeshift barbecue. Some burnt chairs or something. Okay, no big deal. Whatever. But then I go to this guy's name, and you look at the other sales, and they're all equally sketchy.
Indeed. So next, Batman takes the info and surfs over the Bike Index. He punches in what he knows. Trek, green, within 100 miles of Seattle. Several contenders pop up. He starts to weed them out. It helps to know bikes by a glance, their geometry and components. Batman knows bikes.
This guy needs an oracle. He needs a guy in the chair so he can just call somebody and be like,
Oracle, I need you to cross-reference. Green, Trek, large tires, stolen. Find it, damn it, now.
But this one didn't seem to work out. Nope, nothing seemed to match. It's a dead end, just another shifty-looking sale. But sometimes the bikes just aren't reported. That's really one of the biggest problems with busting up bike sales, is that a lot of people just don't report their bikes when they get stolen. I mean, they just think nothing will happen, or they don't have insurance. And to be fair, a lot of times nothing happens.
oh, unless it
Unless you got a lead.
or unless it's a really expensive bike and it's something you really care about, then
Yeah.
you're not really going to report it stolen. Now, if it's just
Right.
your kid's, like you said, Huffy that you got from a pawn shop that got stolen because your kid didn't lock it up one night, you're probably not going to be filing a police report and doing all this stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you might put up some signs outside, but that's about it.
Exactly. So I couldn't help but ask myself, why does Bike Batman do this? Like, he has a life, right? He's got a wife who probably wants to sit down and watch some TV with him at night. He's got friends. He's got a career. He's got bikes to ride, right? Not to mention all those broken bikes in his basement. So why do this at all?
Really? It might be 3%, let's say adrenaline. Some subconscious adrenaline seeking, maybe. And there might be maybe 2% of something else. But I would say maybe 95% of it is just getting that bike returned.
Well said, Batman. Well said.
I love him trying to put the math together. He's over there trying to do that like that Lincoln or that Lincoln Park song, or whatever. It's like 15%, 20%. It's like, all right, it's like 2% this, maybe 3%. All right, maybe 2% this.
Maybe two.
There's also like 1% just getting out there. I like to stay active. I like to get the, but 2% here.
Right. Exactly. You got to get your percentages right before you go rattling off stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I do it for the good. I do it for the good feeling. But, it's also, I try to think of that Family Guy. I think it's like, well, it's also just a great way to stay in shape.
What do you think that 2% is?
Like I said, just a great way to stay in shape.
I might think that 2% is something else.
I don't know, but if you're out there fighting crime that long at night, I feel like you might be working up more than just a sweat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like there's something we could probably actually give.
But
Batman.
I think the 2% is the purpose. It's greater community.
You think the 2% is the greater community?
Yeah, I think it's his greater community. Like it's like something he's passionate about in that cycling community, and he is serving possibly one of the greatest purposes he could in that community, aside from being a professional cyclist and starting charities and inspiring other people or whatever.
Yeah, I do like how they even suggested. It's like it also helps that he's 6 feet plus, bearded, looks like a Viking, very strong, broad-shouldered. It's like, yeah, it's just like anybody else in the cycling communities. It's kind of like, I'm not gonna say they're normally like smaller people.
Yeah.
Very, very strong legs. Give them that. Get some tree trunks for legs.
But they are typically more narrow up top.
Yeah, not a lot of upper body strength.
It makes sense. You want to be aerodynamic. There's a reason they're faster. You don't want to be a fucking flag up there.
You want to be like a horse jockey on there, like a tiny guy.
You want to be out there like a fucking billboard.
Yeah, just catching all that wind, just catching wind and flopping in the back.
Right? Your torso's a parachute, bro.
Everyone's just slingshotting around you. Everyone's just using you to pick up speed around.
They're drafting.
Yeah. You're just breaking up the wind for everybody else.
Well, at least if you're wearing Oh My Guy, you'll smell good.
Like I said, you want to be in the front of the pack. Then everybody's just being like, actually, I'll just stay behind you.
This smells
this breeze
amazing.
Is delicious.
But you guys should breeze on over to ohmygaia.com and get you some amazing smelling deodorant, fragrance, or beard oil. Because Oh My Gaia is an innovative, all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. All natural, baby. And they got tons of scents from vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, Egyptian musk, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside. There's also pear, sweet pea, sailor, barbershop, and we got our very own scent called True Crime Pine. We feel very special.
Ooh, that's actually still one of my personal favorites, man.
It's a good one. It's a good go-to. I always keep a jar of True Crime Pine around. And because you guys are True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word CREEPER for 15% off your order. That's CREEPER for 15% off your order. Go check them out at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com preferably. ohmygaia.com, guys. And don't forget to use code word CREEPER for 15% off of that order. All right? You don't forget either, Andy.
Oh, I've never forgotten, dude. Like I said, I use that every day. I got a little bottle of the True Crime Pine beard oil in my car.
There you go.
Just every day before I go into the office when I have to, lather a little bit of that on
Splash that on there.
Just walk into those cubicles. Everybody's just like, what is that delicious? Oh, it's Andy.
Oh, it's just Andy. Well, at least he smells delicious.
At least I don't mind sitting next to him.
Right on. I don't mind sitting next to you either, Andy, but I'm ready to get out of here.
Yeah, we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, we sure will, bud. All right, guys, make sure you check out patreon.com/True Crime Guys. Just breeze on over there. You can give it a look. You can even be a free patron and look at all the stuff you can't listen to. I don't really know why they have free patronage, but you can go check it out and see what all we have to offer over there for free. Okay? Mm-hmm. And then for just $2 a month, you can get access to every Patreon exclusive and early access to these episodes with bonus content and ad-free. Speaking of Patreon exclusives, next week we will be doing a Patreon exclusive. So you will not hear our regular True Crime Guys episode on the free platform here. We'll be on Patreon, and here on the free platform, we'll have headlines and shenanigans for you. Don't forget to check us out on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Check us out, our artist page on Spotify. We got all kinds of music available, or wherever you listen to music. Apple Music, iTunes, YouTube Music, whatever the hell you're doing. If you want to put some True Crime Guys music on your Instagram story, Facebook stories, all that good stuff, it is there. It is available. Thank you guys for listening. And yeah, I guess we'll see him next week with headlines here on the free platform.
Oh yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go gargle with some honey and bourbon, maybe see if I can't call
Did
him
a
these
fine
vocal
job
cords.
at Batman today, sir. Fine job.
I'll be able to talk again next week, I promise.
Just some lemon honey drops. It'll be good. All right, guys. Well, until next week, just keep on creeping.
Bye. Bike Batman.